but a guy that was consistent along not only with just interceptions and things like that, but tackles and really locking up players too as well.
Yeah, and here's a crazy thing too is like when it comes to defensive backs, what does everybody hone in on to figure out who's Hall of Fame worthy? Like, is it interceptions? Is it pass defenses? Is it a combination of the tackles and the interceptions? What exactly would be your and I'm asking the know-it-alls out there, what exactly would be your criteria to be a Hall of Fame defensive back? Because when you look at Rondé Barber didn't have the crazy amount of interceptions like some of these other great DBs did. You look at guys like Charles Woodson, who ended up he had like 65 or something like that interceptions, compared to Rondé Barber's 47 interceptions, who's way farther down the list. But then you look at pass defenses, and Rondé Barber's like third all-time with 197 pass defense. So, like, for me, this is just my personal opinion, I value pass defense more than interceptions. And I'll tell you why. Because that shows me that corner, that safety, whatever position they play at that defensive back position, that means they are right there, right where the receiver is. They are knocking the ball away, not giving them an opportunity to catch the ball. And yeah, the sexy stat is interceptions to get a turnover. But man, if your corner or safety can knock the ball away and just not allow your receivers to catch the ball, then that's what I want on my defense. Yes, turnovers are great, but you don't get a lot of those. But if you can get more pass defenses than interceptions, I'll take it, because that means the opponent you're facing is not having a good day. So that to me is what I would kind of gear towards. And I feel like, me and Jim have talked about this before, like, positional groupings for the Hall of Fame. There's got to be some kind of a threshold to be, rated as elite, to be able to be in the Hall of Fame. And it's really not that difficult to figure out. So when we were doing our research here on defensive backs, I'm like, I see a lot of guys that, they have, so I would think, like, if you have 50 interceptions or above, or you have 100 pass defenses or above, that is a criteria enough to be considered Hall of Fame worthy. And if you look at some of these stats, you look at some of these names on this list that have retired, that are all done. Look at Ray Buchanan. Does anybody remember Ray Buchanan for the Atlanta Falcons? Little short corner, whatever. He's got about the same interceptions as our man Rondé Barber. However, but when you go look at pass defenses, he's third all time. 197 compared to number 1 overall has 203. So that's incredible. To me, that's Hall of Fame worthy. That means that guy was defending against any receiver that was standing across from him. He wasn't going to get the ball.
And the first overall happened to be Champ Bailey too, who is a Hall of Famer already.
Right.
So that's what kind of company he's along there with. And like you said, I think that matters a lot. I would like to even think about and see what Darrelle Revis's stats are when everything's said and done too, because when you're known as a player as Revis Island, you're a shutdown corner. I think that's a big accomplishment in itself too, and that's where I think what we're talking about is how effective are you on the field, to where a lot of teams won't even look your way. They just want to look and aim somewhere else away from you, because they know the ability that you have to shut down a play and not just even have those types of turnovers and interceptions. I think just the ability to make them go out on third down and then have to punt it away and turn the ball over that way, I think is almost just as effective as coming up with an interception on its own. So when you're talking about pass defense, I think that's when you're really looking at those type of situations here and what they're able to do on especially top receivers, because some of these bigger names too as well. It wasn't even like Rondé Barber and some of these other guys like Champ Bailey. They would line them up on a lot of the number one wide receivers. They weren't playing against some of these other guys, third stringers and here and there, maybe further on in their career. But they were actually lining up against a lot of good wide receivers that were in their good, and high up in their time as well.
Here's something. So you want to know what Revis, right? Mm-hmm. Revis only has 139 pass defenses.
Mm-hmm.
Interceptions? Take a wild guess.
What was the record? Or it was like 65 was the record, right?
71 or 80, something like that.
I want to say 39.
You're going to be amazed. It's 29 interceptions.
I was close. I said 39.
So this guy, as great as everybody thought Revis was, you could make the case, if you use our model, above 100 pass defenses, he's Hall of Fame worthy. But he didn't get there in interceptions at all. 29 is like, that's not as much as I would have thought. I would have thought Revis would have had at least 50-something, interceptions.
Right.
So that to me is surprising to me to see that stat right now. And then when you compare him to guys like, Rondé Barber exceeds him. He has 47 interceptions and 197 passes defensed. So does that mean that Rondé Barber is better than Darrelle Revis? Darrelle Revis has held pretty high standard in terms of a defensive back in the history of the NFL. So does that mean that Rondé Barber is better? Because if you're going by stats, yes. If you're going by the player, that's where you can kind of have an argument, because some people like that more physical guy like a Revis who doesn't have top-end speed. But, man, was he physical? He was after it. He made your life miserable. He made you work for it. Or do you want that guy like Rondé Barber who was a little bit more, he had that top-end speed. He was a little faster, a little quicker type of guy, and he was just always around. So that's a fun debate to have. You know what I mean? When you sit here and you compare like these big names versus guys like Rondé Barber or guys like, hell, Ray Buchanan, I never would have thought had 40-plus interceptions.
Yeah, right.
That guy.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. You think of the guys like that. There's kind of like you knew who they were, but like, wow, man, huh?
Guys like that. Guys like Asante Samuel. I mean, he's up there too with interceptions, a little higher than 47. He's in, I think, the 50s. But yeah, I mean, overall, when you break it down, like I think that the number one. Let's see. So the player that had the most interceptions. What happened here? Something happened. All right.
Technology. Yeah, sometimes we're having a little bit of a hiccup here tonight too. Anyways, I don't know. We lost some of the stream. I hope you guys are all still with us too. We had a little issue with the chat box too, but working through it. We're taking a look at the 2022 Hall of Fame finalists of the modern era right here. And then the thing is, too, when you get narrowed down to these finalists, there's a lot of big names here. So I think it gets really tough to choose. You have to choose a few. Luckily, a lot of them here are still, this is their first ballot in. So, again, if they don't go in this year, they have a few years still to go. They have like 5 years to go still after this. So, but, again, when you're looking at them, overall body of work, not just big names too as well. Where would they fit? Especially against, if you're looking at them now, they're really against this. This is their competition. Richard Seymour versus Jared Allen, things like that. Who gets in? Who's more deserving of getting in right now?
Oh, that's hands down, DeMarcus Ware.
Oh, yeah, I know. DeMarcus Ware, he's had, but again, and if you want to look,
Jared Allen,
if you're wondering.
And even Jared Allen is way above
Richard Seymour.
Yeah,
I think so too. Which I kind of I'm surprised that he's a finalist.
To be honest with you, Richard Seymour is not deserving of Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I don't think he is either. Well,
his
thank
stats,
you for joining me on that one.
Just let me point this out. So if I go to the defensive tackles, just D tackles, we're going to talk about, and you look on this list. And I go to for example, we'll go to sacks, right? Because that's the big deal. Like everyone points to sacks. It's part of the equation, but not all of it. And we go look at see who's number one. Number one is Alan Page at D tackle. He had 148.5 sacks as a defensive tackle. That's absolutely insane. Warren Sapp had 96. Okay. Randy White had 111. John Randall, 137. Those are impressive numbers for a D tackle to have. Absolutely insane. But when you talk about Seymour, you're looking way, way, way down the list. I think I want to say, because I looked it up earlier, he's in the 40s or 50s for sacks, which isn't really. It's good. It's really good, but it's not crazy enough to me to put him in the Hall of Fame. Category. So
right,
it's
and
like,
he was a big part of those Patriot championship defenses here. But when he got traded to the Oakland Raiders, he just didn't live up to it. Like, for me, I think he had one fairly good season there, but it wasn't right away.
Right, and here's another stat: tackles for loss. That's big for D tackles. Guess who's number 1 right now? All time. This is all time.
All time.
Number
Tackles
1,
for
and
loss?
it's a current player.
Really? Aaron Donald? I don't know.
Aaron Donald
Aaron
is
Donald.
number
Ding,
1.
Ding, ding. Yes,
149 tackles for loss right now and climbing.
Oh,
Ndamukong Suh is second.
That is correct.
Ndamukong Suh
wow.
has 130 tackles for loss and climbing. He's still playing. Geno Atkins, old man Geno for the Bengals, has 100. So,
Oh, wow.
these guys are amazing. Warren Sapp
That's
is
scary for Aaron Donald because he's not even long in his career
Right.
or something. He's like Ndamukong Suh. He has been signing deals yearly to try and hang on here. So
the first Hall of Fame D tackle that is on this list for tackles for loss is Warren Sapp with 91. The next, you have to scroll down
then
to John Randall with 40.
at this point, if you look at Hall of Fame status and the position,
And then
Aaron Donald now would have to be the greatest D tackle of all time.
no, because he's not there with sacks.
No.
He's there with just tackles
Just
for
tackles?
loss. He's number 1.
Where is he with sacks, though?
Sacks, let's see. Aaron Donald
Because again,
is,
you really a D tackle. That's
No.
not even like a sack location.
Here's the thing.
though. Too. That's like really
Here-
dominant.
okay, here's the crazy thing. So Aaron Donald's still young.
Yeah.
He already has 98 sacks in his career.
Yeah.
He is 5th in all time. 5th already as a D
Fifth.
tackle.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, or maybe even would he dare be nominated as one of the best defensive players of all time?
No. That's the most ridiculous thing I feel like when people bring up, best defensive, best offensive player of all time. You can't. There's all different positions for everything, and to claim to be the number 1 best at it is insane. Too many different eras, too many different the players are different themselves. You might like a physical player versus a finesse player. You know what I mean? There's just way too many variables to try to make that claim.
Your lack of faith disturbing.
I don't at all. I think that's absolutely crazy to try to name
crazy.
number 1 overall.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, if you look at him altogether again, now naming that off, that how young he is in his career, and that he's up there in those stats.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be that is an amazing career.
He has a great chance if he continues. Now, here's the thing too: is longevity. We talk about longevity. If he continues this, he might end up being the sack leader all time. Because right now he has 98, so let's just call it 100. He's going to get to 100, right? Definitely going to get. He needs 48 more after he reaches 100 to tie. Well, 48 and a half to tie. 49 to lead all time. I think he can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's at an incredible pace right now, and let's see if he can sustain it. That'll be absolutely incredible. He's definitely going to be considered the best D tackle of all time.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to be, especially with those stats. That'd be it's something interesting to
But
track.
but going back to Richard Seymour, hell no, he doesn't deserve to be there.
Yep.
Let's just say that.
Yep. All right, so let's take a look at a few more here, and then we'll wrap up and get to our picks.
There's a lot of really good players.
But there are again Zach Thomas.
What else?
Who
We got another
here?
D tackle on there, Bryant Young.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can find him on here. Yeah, Bryant Young right here. So he has 89 and a half sacks. And he's just outside the top 10, but still, that's incredible. And if we go, let's see, did they have 89? and a half. Okay, and he had 93 tackles for loss. 93. That's pretty good. So, to be honest, that's Hall of Fame worthy. And that's not even including tackles. Bryant Young had 519 solo tackles himself. So that's pretty good. That's kind of average, 500 or so. I mean, it's pretty good. So I would say Bryant Young deserves to be in all. Now, here's the thing. As we say, this guy deserves, that guy deserves, but you can only pick a few.
Yeah.
So the debate becomes which one is greater. And that's where, to me, you go to what's in front of you, the information that's in front of you. So, yes, all of these players were great at one point or another in their career. When you go and compare them to the other greats, I know it's not everything, but stats do play a huge part in inducting a player to the Hall of Fame. So when you look at these stats and you say, like, Jared Allen, he's up there in the top 10 easy. He deserves to go in. You know what I mean? DeMarcus Ware absolutely deserves to be in. But then there's going to be players like, Torrey Holt's been waiting. He's deserving to be there. He is up there in the top 15, I think, for a lot of those categories as a receiver. Andre Johnson is deserving. So then it becomes like, does Leroy Butler, go above one of those receivers just to get a safety in? So it's tough. It is extremely tough. I feel for the voters. And, yes, we all would, after we get the finalists, we all say, why did this guy get in? Why? Okay, that guy deserves to be in, but why did this guy deserve? Why does he deserve to be in over DeMarcus Ware or something crazy like that? And they come out and they're like, oh, well, we thought this, thought that. In the end, we all know that us as fans are not going to be happy because you can't put everybody in. That's and there's been a discussion in the NFL where maybe they should expand the number of players that get in per year. That's been in discussion.
Perhaps.
I honestly, I hope they do, because if you're that great, you deserve to be in there. But you can't let everybody in. Just like me and Jim have been talking, we've been running around in circles, talking about this, saying there's got to be a criteria that you follow, that in order to be in the Hall of Fame, you have to meet a certain threshold. You just have to be considered great, and considered a legend of the sport. So we could do this debate all night.
Yeah, absolutely.
We really could.
But we're going to wrap it up. Again, a few names out there. Reggie Wayne. Yeah, I'm not so sure about Zach Thomas. I like. But overall, the Pro Football Hall of Fame Selection Committee will meet January 18th to select up to 5 modern-era players for induction into Canton.
5.
The full class then will be unveiled February 12th. And that is during the NFL Honor Show the night before the Super Bowl here in 2022. So the night before, we will find out who the overall players who they're going to get. Plus, that means the senior and coach, too, as well. But they only get to pick 5 out of here. So, Joe, to wrap this thing up, right now, who do you think maybe pick 5? Who do you think?
Jesus.
See, everybody out there, too,
you're
let's hear who your
me.
5 is.
Listen. I'm going to put this asterisk in and just say I did not do enough research for all of them. I only did a few of them. But here we go. I'm going to go with I'm going to say DeMarcus Ware. I'm going to say Jared Allen. I'm going to say Rondé Barber. I'm going to say, oh man,
2 more. It's like selecting, your dozen donuts you want to get. And you're like, I want this one. I want this one. There's so many good flavors, though. But that one has sprinkles.
Did I say Andre?
You did not say. You said DeMarcus Ware. You said Jared Allen, and you said Rondé Barber.
I'll say Andre Johnson, and I'll say Zach Thomas.
Zach Thomas. Boom. All right. I'm going to look at that, and I think I'm going to agree. Actually, I like all those. I like DeMarcus Ware. I like Jared Allen. I like Rondé Barber. I like Zach Thomas, and then I would throw Andre Johnson out.
And it's tough because I want Reggie Wayne in there. I think Torrey Holt deserves to be in there.
Right.
Sam Mills Sam Mills is a really good linebacker.
Yeah,
However,
he had a good career, I think.
But my thing is I didn't look him up. You know what I mean? So I don't know how good he ended up being, stat-wise or whatever. But here's the thing. Bottom line, I also want to say something like to the committee out there. This is something that they got to pay attention to too. And this has got to be a new stat that's got to be kept for offensive linemen, because it is extremely hard to know how great an offensive lineman, unless you watch their career, like an Orlando Pace. You know what I mean? Where, like, you watch these guys and they were phenomenal, like a Nate Allen, like, guys like that, that they were just great. But for guys that you're not familiar with, or you didn't follow their career, or not really quite sure, there's a guy by the name of Willie Anderson, offensive tackle. I think he played for the Bengals. I don't know anything about him. I tried to look him up. There's no stats for pancake blocks.
That's the thing for offensive linemen. They make
for
it so
sacks,
difficult.
for sacks given up, for pressures given up. Those are stats that need to be accounted for these linemen, so that way you can justify whether they're Hall of Fame worthy or not.
Absolutely.
I'm actually surprised they don't have that. I looked it up. I couldn't find it anywhere.
It's tough to find it. We look at ProReference.com. Shout out to those guys. ProFootballReference.com. They have a lot of stuff out there, but you really got to dig deep to try and find things like that.
It's tough,
man. To try and look at how you would judge something like that. So maybe we don't have that type of stuff available to us as a general public. Maybe we have to be one of those insiders or something like that to get that type of stuff, or be just a statistician for ESPN or something like that, or NFL.com to get into those archives to find that. I don't know, maybe we have to contact some of our people that know that.
If ProFootballReference.com could create that,
yes,
and kind of start to pay attention to it, maybe they could, break open a whole new trend.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? I want to break open a trend, though. Let's talk about breaking open a trend of going to see my guys at Colorize. Right now is a good time to check them out. If you have any kind of home renovations you want to do, too. I know it's a new year. You want a new look, maybe, too. It's new 2022. Everybody's trying to get and thinking away from what happened in 2020 and 2021 is want to burn it all to the ground. And let's start anew. What's the new trend's going to be? Well, let's go down and talk to my guys there at Colorize. You have 3 different locations here in the capital region. You've got the Niskayuna one, Clifton Park, and Queensbury, 2 up there up north near Lake George. Go talk to my guy Link there. He knows everything. They are your Benjamin Moore dealer, but they know PPG, they know everything. Sherwin-Williams, he used to work for Sherwin-Williams, stuff like that. So they will cover everything. You got any questions? They know more than those box store places that just hired this kid that's working part-time into the mixing area and stuff like that. It's like, hey, what do you want? Yeah, it looks good. Here's the formula. Bang, bang, bang. Dab it on there. There you go. See you later. They know it all. So that's what I'm saying. You need any questions, you need the right type of products, go check them out. MyColorize.com. Talk to my man Link at one of those stores there too, Niskayuna, Clifton Park, and Queensbury, and they'll take care of you guys. And also right now, Joe, it's a good time to check out our guys there at Johnstone Supply because it is freezing today. I know we've been really lucky up here in the Northeast. We haven't been getting a lot of snow like I've noticed here in the Northwest. They've been getting buried and stuff like that. I remember frigid record lows. It hasn't been above 0, I think, or something in Montana for like a week or so, man. And they're getting buried with snow out there. The Northwest Kansas City got hit with some, but we're starting to get cold now finally. And I know if you got a problem here, you want to make sure that your heating system's right and stuff like that. You got to go to Johnstone Supply. Why don't you tell everybody about Johnstone Supply, Joe?
Yeah, in these cold winter months for us Northerners,
that's why we got these on. Well, we can deal with the cold, but still.
Exactly. Listen, if you need any help, if you have questions, if you need a new furnace, if you just need filters replaced, if you need your daily maintenance or annual maintenance, I should say, or you're looking to upgrade your heating system to keep you nice and toasty, hit them up, Johnstone Supply in Troy, New York. They can make your home ready for the colder months and beyond after that. They're family-owned and operated business, Johnstone Supply in Troy. They've been helping upstate New York residents for decades now. Visit their store on 6th Avenue in Troy, New York, for more information on how they can help you this fall or this winter, I should say,
this winter.
Beyond. Whether it's finding the proper filter, any other questions that you might have about your furnace, or maybe you're looking to change some things up. They're the guys for it. Johnstone Supply in Troy, their staff is ready and waiting to help you to answer any questions that you may have. From George to Tom and the rest of their staff there, great people. They're looking forward to helping you guys out. Follow them on Facebook or call them today at 518-272-5922. Johnson Supply, 6th Avenue in Troy. Those are the people to go hit up. Listen, even if you're not from New York, they have other branches. Make sure you hit them up. 518-272-5922. If you're not local, message them on Facebook. Send them a message. Get their attention. Maybe they can help you guys out in Florida. They can help you guys out all over the place.
Absolutely, because they also do cooling as well. So George owns another one in Florida. So tell George if you see him down there too, because I'm sure he's down there right about now too, because to stay warm. Say, hey, we heard about you all the way from Football Unknown in Albany, New York. So what do you got going on for me here? Keep me cool down here in Florida. So we really appreciate it, you guys, definitely. But it's. You know what that music means, It's the picks competition right now. Joe is leading right now. He's got me this season, I think, right now. But I'm in it. I'm still in it. I'm still going to be fighting tooth and claw, Joe. Here it is. It's just for this drink right here. This thing full of liquor. The show after the Super Bowl. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. You can drink along with us, too. We're going to do all kinds of special stuff for that show. But here we go. Here's the standings right now. You've got me by 5. But it's really tight, though, too. This is nice. I like the competition. We're looking really good, too, compared to the professional analysts, too. We're kicking their asses still. Those guys, they know everything, right?
They ain't got nothing on us.
But, we should throw our stuff out there with them, see how they like, when we pick our things. So, but all right, so everybody's playing again. This time we've got 2 games on Saturday. And all the rest of the games on Sunday.
And they were flexed to Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. And they flexed out your Vegas game, too, that game. They changed that one. So for Sunday night. So a couple of rearrangements here. But, again, no Monday Night Football. And now we have football on Saturday. And then the rest are on Sunday. It's going to be very exciting here, Joe. But let's take a look at the Kansas City Chiefs and the Denver Broncos. Now, the Chiefs, are they going to rest anybody here in this one, or are they going to go all out and try to just try and win this game? I mean, they don't really need it at this point. But
well, here's the thing: is the number 1 seed is still up for grabs.
Still up.
So if the Titans happen to lose, who are they playing?
That's true too.
They're playing Houston. This is possible, everybody, because if you've paid attention to the Texans' last couple of weeks, Davis Mills has been lighting it up. And this team, for somehow, some way, has been winning games that they shouldn't be winning. So this is a very possible scenario where if the Titans lose and the Chiefs win, Titans lose that first seed, and now the Chiefs are sitting on top of the AFC once again, and they get their bye week. So this is a very real situation, and there's also going to be some jumbling around with other teams. Now, here's the thing, too, is I know the Bengals are sitting Joe Burrow, but if they happen to win and somehow, some way the Chiefs lose to Denver, which I don't see it happening, but say the Titans and the Chiefs lose and the Bengals win, then it's a tie, but the tiebreaker, the Bengals would leapfrog the Chiefs easy, and then I don't know. Then it goes down to probably strength of schedule or like opponents record type of thing for the so I mean, I don't know. Maybe the Bengals are content even if they end up, but they could also drop.
Well, because
you got the Bills right there.
Right, which again, they got
and
a
the
tough
Patriots
thing slotted against them. Like, because if you look at the Cincinnati Bengals, they've got the Cleveland Browns again, which they haven't looked very good. They were hit with COVID for a while too. They had Baker Mayfield, who's banged up. They keep making mistakes and penalties nonstop. But if you look at the Bengals, their starting guard and their center are out with COVID. You have Mixon that's out with COVID. Trey Hendrickson is out with COVID.
Yeah,
and Bell, their safety is out with COVID. So, and then B.J. Hill even too at this point. All right, so that's a lot of COVID there, and then they're resting Joe Burrow.
A lot of COVID there.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of guys out. That's a good. You got 2 offensive linemen plus your running back right now, who's a Pro Bowler, and your quarterback who's lighting it up, and you've got Brandon Allen to come in for you. It doesn't really look very good for you. This is a nice game for Cleveland to play at home. I think the crowd's going to be going wild here on this. This is going to be a tough one to come out of there with a victory. But they are comfortable and content with resting, I think, at this point. That's how bad Cleveland looks, I guess, to people right now. But the Kansas City Chiefs and Denver Broncos, Joe, who do you got in this matchup? Is Teddy Bridgewater cleared to play in this game, or is it going to be Drew Lock again?
Teddy B has now been put on the IR. He is done for the year. He is I know it's kind of silly, right? It's like one game left, and now they put him on the IR. But again, Teddy B is not going to be there. I don't even know if Drew Lock is going to be healthy enough. Man, it's just a mess right now in Denver. And I don't know going forward, does this mean, like, because it's yet another failed year for Vic Fangio as a head coach, is it time to pull the plug on Vic? I mean, he's been there long enough. I haven't really seen any kind of progress. So that discussion is going to happen in the offseason. Kansas City, I think this is an easy win for them. I know Denver's defense is playing pretty darn well, but when you don't have an offense that can score any points, you're not going to win very many games. So Kansas City is going to easily win this one.
All right. Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Now the Dallas Cowboys and Philadelphia Eagles, a battle of the NFC East here. Dallas falls to the Arizona Cardinals, who finally bounced back after that losing skid. Philadelphia with a big win last week against just, a beat up to a Washington football team. I mean, it's just struggling. They're a shell of what they were, what we might have thought they could be in the beginning of the season when we thought we were going to see Ryan Fitzpatrick.
They don't have Fitzmagic, man.
So, and then, they didn't have Chase Young for most of the season either.
Right.
So that's a big factor for them. And even despite that, they were winning some tight games and being in some of these games.
That's the craziest thing, too, is when they had Chase Young and they had all those guys, their defense was terrible.
It was terrible.
Now it seems like they're gelling, and they're starting to play like we thought they were going to play. So, I don't know. It's a little bit weird mystery in Washington.
So who do you got in this one?
This one's got playoff implications. It's got, it's got seeding implications here. If the Cowboys happen to lose to the Eagles and the Cardinals win, Cardinals move up ahead of the Cowboys in this scenario. So that's it. That could really harm the Cowboys. Listen, the Cowboys don't want to face, or risk facing a team like the Rams or something like that. That's going to be tough for them. But so who knows with the way the Eagles have been playing? I mean, their offense has been, kind of up and down throughout the season, but it seems like they're getting it together lately down the stretch. So whether they're able to run the ball or not, they can do it with Hurts. Hurts is throwing the ball to these young receivers that they have at his disposal. And the Eagles' defense is starting to play a little bit better. So it gives them a shot to play play Dallas in their home and maybe come away with a win. But I like the Cowboys overall. I like their team better. I mean, their defense is kind of hitting on all cylinders now. The only difference for this week for them is that Micah Parsons has COVID, and he was diagnosed, I believe, yesterday. So he has a chance if he comes away with a negative test by Sunday, if that's possible, that then he could be there for the game. But if he has to miss it, then that's kind of a big loss there for that pass rush.
Yeah, when you talk about COVID, again, it's going to be a big factor here for the Eagles. They have a lot of guys that are out with it.
Yeah.
You want to name the guys here? What's the big names? Jason Kelsey, Dallas Goedert, Boston Scott, Jordan Howard, who's been playing well for them, Fletcher Cox, Jannard Avery, Alex Singleton, too. They're all COVID list. So those guys will not be in the game. So you've got issues there.
To me, the biggest name out of that whole list is Kelsey. I mean, he's been rock solid for that offensive line.
Yeah, you've got two of their starting linemen right in your interior that'll be out. So I think, again, either way, despite that, I think Dallas still had the edge. I like the Dallas Cowboys in this one.
Yep.
All right, so moving forward, we've got the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns. Again, we kind of covered this quickly, so I'm just going to go with the Browns on this one. They are playing at home. They are resting a lot of guys for Cincinnati here. I would hope that Cincinnati would come out with a victory here. Maybe Kareem Hunt will be good enough to play to help them out too, and maybe they can have not as many turnovers and mistakes this year and finish it off big here at home. I like the Browns.
And the Browns are going to have Case Keenum as their quarterback. So
I like it.
we're gonna finally see him
get what we
again.
want, at the
We're
end,
gonna see him again debut as the Cleveland quarterback. So listen, I'm not a fan of. I know why they're sitting Joe. They have to because he's a little banged up. They need him healthy for the playoffs or healthy enough for the playoffs. So
right, and when you're not going to get that bye week, this will be just as good enough for it.
Right, I'm going to go with Cleveland in this because they're a little healthier. They're going to have a better quarterback at the helm, and it gives them a better chance to win. So I'm going to go with the Browns as well. The only thing too is it sucks that they have to sit Burrow right now because this might, if they end up losing, this might actually drop them in the rankings.
But again, with those seeds too, they might even maybe they even looked over this scenario and say, well, maybe we like our matchups if we do fall.
I'll tell you right now, if they happen to say for example, let's just say this is how it plays out: Chiefs get the number 1 seed, Titans drop to number 2, and then the Bengals drop, but then the Bengals have to play the Titans. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's not so bad.
Mm-hmm.
It is difficult because they're going to have Henry ready.
Henry back, yeah.
But it's not, you know what I mean? It's not like they have to just rush and play the Chiefs again.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't know. It's going to be tough either way. That's why they call it the playoffs. So.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Next up, we've got the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions again. Is Boyle going to be playing too, or is it going to be Jared Goff to come back in this one too? I think
Goff is due to come back.
Again, either way though, it's not really a discussion. I think even though Detroit has had some nice stories within this season, they're just not ready yet. They're ready to just close out the season and get rolling with next year and rebuild. But I like the Packers in this one here to finish off the season nice here with that number 1 seed.
Yeah, I mean, it's really not even that close. I mean, Green Bay. Listen, Green Bay has been the hottest team right now in the NFC as we get closer to playoff time. They're healthier than a lot of teams. They're hitting on all cylinders on offense. Defensively, they're playing better, and they're getting back players that they have missed for several weeks. Jair Alexander is now back in the lineup as their starting corner once again. So they're getting healthier and stronger as we get into this playoff race. So, yeah, no doubt in my mind, Green Bay is going to win this easy.
All right, next up we got the Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings. The Bears gotta just shellac the Giants, but they're just overall a bad team. Minnesota got kind of shafted in this one due to the COVID and stuff like that because they weren't able to have Kirk Cousins into this game.
No.
They still, and this week, aren't going to have Ezra Cleveland and Christian Darrisaw because of the COVID list, and Eric Kendricks too as well. But still, Chicago, again, I think is just a team that's still trying to get used to each other, stuff like that. Justin Fields starting to work out kinks, but looking good right now. But I don't still think they have enough to pull out a win here against Minnesota. I like the Vikings in this one.
Who's their backup for the Vikings?
That was the quarterback or?
Yeah.
That was Alexander. No, it was
Sean Mannion.
Sean Mannion. Yep.
Yeah,
it was funny too
because Kirk Cousins is in jeopardy of not making this game either because of COVID. So if
they've got him in here in the lineup, so I don't know if it's still he just hasn't passed protocol, but then maybe they're expecting he might play. But
it all comes down to the test.
Yeah,
it all comes down to the test. So
if he isn't
on
then,
the COVID, if he's on the COVID list and he's not able to play, that's a big loss.
Yeah,
I'm going to go with Chicago as long as Kirk Cousins is not playing.
Right. So as long as he's not playing, so I'm going to put the star on it, and then I'm going to write the Cousins next to it, and then I'm on that same boat. If Kirk Cousins does not play, then I'm going to swap over to Chicago.
I don't trust Sean.
Yeah. No, you don't. And it was funny because I just saw NFL.com did a rankings of the 1 through 32 of worst quarterbacks. Guess who is 32?
Who's that?
That was our Missing Milk Carton Player of the Week. It was Mike Glennon. Yeah, but
the Ostrich Man.
Right there was, I think Sean Mannion was right there. And then
not far behind.
Sam Darnold was like right there. Right, the last three right there. I'm like, holy shit. Like Sam Darnold back
I don't blame
here.
Sam Darnold at all. Like that poor guy's had a lot of injuries that he had to overcome and then compete with Cam in the middle of a game.
Yeah.
What is going on with the coaches?
Yeah.
Listen, I heard, just so you Panther fans out there know, David Tepper, the owner of the Carolina Panthers, has lost faith in Matt Rule as a coach. And it's because he keeps bouncing these quarterbacks in and out of the lineup. And it's like, that's not how we do things in the NFL. College, you can get away with it. Not so much in the NFL. You need your quarterback to be in a rhythm. And Darnold never could get in a rhythm, and especially last week with interchanging these quarterbacks. So who knows what's going to happen in Carolina either.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we haven't even really talked a lot of the coaching hot seat and stuff like that, so I think moving into the playoffs, we're going to hear some of those hammers drops and stuff, and
right,
Black Monday will be coming.
That's right.
So here we go. We got the Washington football team and the New York Giants. Again, Mike Glennon going in for surgery, so I think we're going to see Jake Fromm. And again, not a lot of NFL experience. This team overall is just bad. We're going to see a lot of changes, I think, with that team moving forward, depending on who they get in as GM. And the Washington football team, just overall, with personnel that they do have, I think is just better. So I think Washington's going to come out of here with a victory.
Well, they actually have a halfway decent quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just call it what it is.
Yeah.
The Giants don't have a quarterback, and if you don't have a quarterback that's capable of running your offense, you're not going to win.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple. Mm-hmm. I love the Giants' defense. I'm not in love with their quarterback situation right now.
I feel bad for their defense, because again, they try so hard to try and stay into the game and things, and they've got a lot of big playmakers there.
They're paid
it's
to play.
Just,
they're paid to
when
play.
your offense can't get it done. And what was surprising even about last week's loss, Saquon had a 100-yard rushing day.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that. And it didn't even matter. It was like he wasn't even there because you get 3 points, right?
It is what
Might
it
as well
is, man.
just run Saquon out there and then a kicker, and they're like, here we go.
Listen, and Washington's defense is starting to come on too. So I mean, I'm going to go with Washington in this one.
All right.
Listen. And the Giants got to figure something out in the offseason. They got to figure out who their quarterback is going to be, because if you're asking me, I don't know if you feel the same way, but if you're asking me, I think I've seen enough from Daniel Jones to know that he's not the guy.
Yeah. I mean, it's enough that he's definitely doesn't have it.
Because to me, he's shown flashes of being good, but then he also still continues to make the bonehead mistakes, no matter how many times he has to confront them. You know what I mean? Still makes the wrong decisions, or still tries to force a play to happen when it's not there.
Yeah, it's like with any situation. If you talk to a person and say, hey, yeah, I understand you made a mistake. We'll work on it. You'll get better with time. That's what I do when I try to train people at my job. Hey, this you're new at this.
Right.
We're going to start off with this now. You're going to make mistakes. You make a mistake. They were like, all right, we've tried to fix it. You do it again. And it's like, yeah, I know. I'm working on this. We're going to get it done. And then you do it again. And then you keep doing it again. And they're like, all right, man, maybe you're just not cut out for this. You know what I mean? Because if you keep saying you're going to change it and then you still don't, then you're just not getting it. And this is where we're at, I think, with Daniel Jones. Got a lot of good flashes, enough to tease you a little bit here on some of the things that he could be. But I think he just needs a lot more around him to make it work altogether and not really him be the leader to get you somewhere. So he's more of that game manager situation, I think. So moving forward, some of these other games, they're not going to be very close, or at least, tough to pick here. Right now, we're kind of cruising through some of these.
Yeah, so something's I don't know. I'm just kind of looking for, because now we got to the Colts game right now.
Yeah.
So it's
playoff implications?
it's Colts, at Jacksonville. Here's the thing: if somehow
if Jacksonville can pull out this win and
Jacksonville
make them lose,
pulls off this win, does that mean that no matter who wins the Charger Raider game, they're both in? Because that would mean the Colts, the tiebreaker, the Raiders beat the Colts.
Yeah.
So they get the tiebreaker over the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
And the Chargers, let's just say they beat the Raiders, okay? And the Colts lose. Does that mean they both get that 6th and 7th spot?
See, I don't know, because I thought even after you evaluate all this, isn't it going to be how you played within your division still? I mean, how well are they even within their division too, and how they've played against everybody
head to head.
It's head to head, but then I thought it doesn't have to keep dropping down to other things that they evaluate after that.
Not if the tiebreaker's there.
No.
So the Colts lost to the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tiebreaker.
Mm-hmm.
That's the 7th spot.
Mm-hmm.
Raiders would get in, and if the Chargers beat the Raiders, they would still get in.
It's a possibility. I mean, it's absolutely.
I don't know.
I think a possibility. I think, but I'm not sure.
Here's my thing is I gotta find out
Because they even show it. I think if you're looking on NFL.com, I think they show it even afterwards. What tiebreaker rules are. I think another one of those slots on what would happen and what would determine who would advance. I think. Going forward, if there was a tie or something.
Well,
like that.
that's why I'm figuring this out as we go.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the thing, that's what makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how a tiebreaker would be broken down. Now, if you've never played the team before, obviously then it goes into a series of other variables there. There's other criteria that they can go through to decipher the tiebreaker. But let's see, I don't even know if the Chargers faced the Colts this season. You know what I mean? Did they?
No, they couldn't have. Because if they never did, then and say the Raiders beat the Chargers, and the Colts happen to win, does that mean that the Chargers would be knocked out and the Colts would make it? The Colts, they had to have, because this is the last game, so they would have played them already, because they play the division twice, so they would have played them already, and I don't think they lost to them, so. They would get 2 wins versus them if they won here, but if Jacksonville, then they split. But I don't. Yeah, and it depends. Maybe if some of these other teams that might have split too, but I didn't really see that happening either. What seed are the Colts right now?
So the Chargers have never. They did not play the Colts this year.
The Jaguars.
No, the Chargers. I'm looking at the Chargers.
Oh, you're talking about the
right
Chargers
now.
if they played each other. All right, so then you're trying to look at if they played.
No, so they haven't played, so it's not a clean
so
cut.
You can't do a
That would probably go to strength of schedule or a record in the conference, something like that.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, I know I'm kind of rambling on or whatever, but
here we go.
But it's kind of all these different like scenarios that can play out. It's interesting to see what could exactly happen here.
Oh, you're trying to drum something up within a Jacksonville Indianapolis Colts game to try.
Let's go Jaguars! Let's go do it.
All right, so what do you got? You got the Colts here?
Yeah,
on this
got the
one.
Colts.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't think Jaguars stand a chance.
What about the Pittsburgh Steelers here and the Baltimore Ravens? I think Ravens are they going to have Lamar Jackson back for this one?
That's a good question. He should be able.
It shows him that he's here.
He should be back,
and they look all good to go. I think as long as everybody's here for them, I like the Baltimore Ravens in this one, just because even despite not having him and what Huntley's been able to do, and this team overall too with the injuries that they've had on defense and other things. They really hung tight with a lot of these other big teams still, and were able to play. I think just Pittsburgh, sometimes their defense is able to get them into some of these games, so it's like an illusion that they're playing well. But overall, that offense not very good.
No.
And a lot of drops by the receivers. Claypool, dude, again, you're getting some of those 50-50 balls thrown to you. You got to be that guy to go up and get those things. And he had a lot of drops in that last game. That should have been big ones here, too, for a guy of his stature, especially with his swagger and the way he's got this attitude about himself. You got to be able to be locked in on some of those.
And it's definitely different because his rookie year, he was coming away with all of them.
All of them.
He was definitely making an impression on the Steelers enough to where they almost let Juju walk and never re-signed him. And isn't that the most ironic scenario? He returns and then gets injured and done for the year. So not much help there. But anyway, the Steelers, yeah, you're right. Listen, their defense has been kind of holding them on the tracks, so to speak, and just like this past week, they balled out for Ben, and they really played out. They shut down the run game for Cleveland. They made Baker have to be the difference maker. Couldn't get it done, and just had a ton of pressure on him. But this game is going to be a little bit different. This time, if Lamar Jackson, I believe he's completely healthy now. I believe he's coming back. Going to be the guy. And this is the most confusing team, I feel like, in the AFC. We've seen them beat some tough opponents. We've seen them lose some games where you're like scratching your head, like what just happened? And they're also dealing with injuries. Lamar Jackson is showing some signs of weakness in terms of being injured now more often. Also, in the past, what was it, two or 3 weeks of him starting at quarterback, he's thrown over 10
mistakes.
interceptions, something crazy like that
Mm-hmm.
in 2 or 3 games. So
Yeah.
that's concerning. So, like, can they get back on track at home against a Steeler team, against a rival? I think it's going to happen. I think Lamar Jackson and company, they're going to get back on track. They're going to get this win. And this is important because in the AFC, they are technically still alive. They are on the bubble, like the Raiders, like the Steelers even are on the bubble. A lot of stuff has to happen. They need help, in other words, to get in. But even if they win, it's a big if. They need a lot of help to get into the playoffs, even if they win. But they got to get it done.
And now, when you look at, let me just bring this up quick. When you talk about their defense and T.J. Watt, now he's got one more sack until he matches Michael Strahan's sack record here for a season. Now, how would you feel if he ends up getting 2 in this game and passes Strahan with this extra week now that he gets that? I mean, do you think that – I mean, I guess technically it's fair because this is the way the NFL is right now. But do you have that asterisk next to this and then see this is what it's got to be for moving forward? Because this next week that we have, there's going to be some records broken too with the way some of these yardage are going. Possibly.
I mean, here's the other thing, is Najee Harris broke Franco Harris's rushing record for the Pittsburgh Steelers last week. So that was a full season. Used to be a full season.
Right,
so
right. And that's legit.
He did it, right? No asterisks there.
Yeah.
But now that you have this extra week, and then a record may be broken because of that extra week, I feel like you do have to put an asterisk. Be like, rule change 2021, rule change extra week in the season, and that's it. So at least it lets you know, like, oh, well, they had an extra week to break that record. So
right, and I think maybe even at this point, I think where baseball needs to change this too. Maybe what would probably be the word is, but changing the name of the certain eras. Baseball says modern era, but that starts at like 1920 for them until right now. And the NFL, I think now this is the beginning of a new era. So now I think maybe this can't be modern era, or there was modern era, but now this is millennial era, or postmodern, or something like that. Something else moving forward. Another flashy name.
We're gonna have to come up every 10 years.
So
we have to come up with a different name.
So perhaps, I don't know, something else to show it. But all right, next we got the Tennessee Titans. Looks like they are, at least Derrick Henry is cleared to go. Will he go right away here in this game?
No.
I don't think they really need him. But Houston, like you said, has been playing better, and Davis Mills. And that's the funny thing is because I think Davis Mills was rated higher than Trevor Lawrence or some of these other guys, and this QB rating too of all the 1 through 32 quarterbacks out there. He's been playing well, and they've been doing some things here in Houston despite where they are with personnel and as a franchise. But Tennessee Titans overall, I think, is a better team. They're a playoff team, and they better play like it this week. So I like the Tennessee Titans in this one.
Yeah, Titans, they are not going to play Derrick Henry. They are going to rest him because guess what? Playoffs are around the corner.
Chill.
Why risk him getting re-injured and then you don't have him at all? So Titans are going to rest him up. They're going to continue to play. I'm a little disappointed in this Titans offense now. It doesn't seem like they're getting they're kind of they're not red hot like they were last season. Where they got in, they had everything going for them. Derrick Henry's running the ball. They're throwing to A.J. Brown, and everything's working out right. Now it's concerning to me because they have weapons. They got A.J. Brown back healthy. Julio Jones is there, but he's kind of irrelevant, which is weird. You know what I mean? And I don't see him being utilized in this offense. They don't have Henry right now. That's going to be a little confusing. I don't know how that's going to work out. And can Henry dust the rust off quick enough when they play their playoff game? Houston, what can you say about this team? Holy shit. After all the players that they've traded away, have gotten rid of, that, Deshaun Watson doesn't want to play for the franchise. I thought this was going to be the worst season in Texans history. And they managed to have, I think they won, the last 3 games?
I think so.
I think they won the last 3 games. And I'm at a loss because here's the deal. Davis Mills comes in as a rookie. Not Tyrod Taylor. He's been in and out. He's been injured. But Davis Mills comes in, and he finds a way to win with this team. Brandon Cooks looks like a freaking all-star now with Mills at quarterback. And they're finding ways to win no matter who they're playing.
Mm-hmm. They lost last week to the Saints.
Oh, they did lose last week?
Yeah.
Ah, damn it.
But they were winning a few games here again and playing hard. But that's what I mean.
Impressive.
They made that game close.
Impressive.
To where the Saints end up just pulling out.
Right.
I think they
So,
won by 8 in that one.
I mean, I like what I see from Mills. And here's the thing is, if you guys didn't pay attention to our draft segment, Davis Mills was one of those sleeper-type quarterbacks that we mentioned that with development, he could easily be a starter in this league. The only problem he had in college was injuries. Mm-hmm. If he can stay healthy, he can do it, and we're seeing that in Houston. Mm-hmm. But I am going to go with the Titans because obviously I feel the same way Jim does. The roster's better. It's stronger. However, they are a little bit weaker on offensive line, so that might balance out this game. It's probably going to end up a close game, down to maybe a field goal.
All right, next up we've got the New Orleans Saints and the Atlanta Falcons here, Joe. Falcons just, again, not a really good season this year, kind of rough for them moving forward here with, their new personnel and Matt Ryan not having some of the weapons they had, but Kyle Pitts has really turned on as a nice move for them, centerpiece. A lot of the offense moving around Cordarrelle Patterson. No one really saw that happening this season. And then facing a New Orleans Saints team who's kind of lost their identity a little bit here too, with dealing with COVID like a lot of teams have been, but then also injuries at the quarterback situation too as well, and then poor quarterback play altogether. And when you look at Trevor Siemian trying to come in, fit the spot in there, not looking so hot, you get Taysom Hill in there. He's got that highly, bonus loaded type of contract right here, but he's been making mistakes, a lot of just terrible reads and bad throws. But enough to win some of these really games against poor teams. This is going to be a close game, I think. And I think it's going to come down to really it's how is Matt Ryan going to play against this defense? Because this defense really has got to pressure Matt Ryan to try and get him to make some mistakes, because I think Taysom Hill is going to be making some of those mistakes against even an Atlanta defense that isn't very good. I think they need to really give it to Alvin Kamara, let it flow through him, the offense go like that, and just try and stay safe here and let the defense drive them through this game. I like the New Orleans Saints in this one.
The Saints have one of the better defenses too, and that's really kind of why they've been able to stay afloat. Listen, they are still in the hunt. They're on the bubble. They need this win badly, and that gives them a shot because guess who the Niners face? They face the Rams. So there's a potential where if the Niners lose and the Saints win, the Saints get that 6th seed in the playoffs. So I never thought the Saints were going to be in the hunt. I mean, the way it looked, losing Winston, now you have Taysom Hill as your quarterback, and he's looked disastrous at times. But his legs gets him out of a lot of trouble. So look for him to Sean Payton and company to utilize his legs, to utilize Alvin Kamara out of the backfield as a receiver. Whatever they got to do, they're going to do. And I really do like the Saints defense. And for them to help them get past Atlanta. Atlanta, they've done as much as they probably could with what they have. You know what I mean? They're a team that is rebuilding, and they have a few pieces to utilize, but they're just not back to where they were in a playoff race, back into the winning ways of what they used to be. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Saints.
That's been said about me a little bit there too, Joe, that my legs get me out of a lot of trouble as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just flash my legs, then maybe, I don't get the ticket,
there
the
you
cops
go.
let me go.
That's good.
Yeah.
I usually have a dozen donuts in the passenger seat. That's how I get out.
That would get me into trouble.
Because they're just like, hey, you know why I pulled you over? Yeah, you could smell it.
Oh, man. Excellent. Smell it. All right, here we go. The New York Jets and the Buffalo Bills. Jets, could they play spoiler here, or kind of ruin a day for the Buffalo Bills the way they've been playing?
It's possible, man.
It's a tough game here. They really didn't show up last time they played the Buffalo Bills, but who knows? Can they get this team fired up? Enough to play well? Can Zach Wilson get stir up some more of that magic that he's got here? I really don't think so. Again, tough game to go play there in Buffalo. Buffalo's looking really good. They're making that playoff run. This is what you like to see, the team like this really connect and try and drive here, and this is what we're looking at for some of these teams pushing into the playoffs. When you got a team like, say, the Rams or the Kansas City Chiefs, who just came off of an embarrassing loss there to a tough
I wouldn't say
Cincinnati.
embarrassing.
Not embarrassing, but you're in that seed. You get a loss here, and now you have to play a tough divisional opponent.
Yep.
You were up there at that number 1 seed, and now you got to still fight for your way to get through this and maybe get that bye week. Now you've got, a team here that's already hot and buzzing and moving along. You're feeling a lot better in that locker room right now. You're moving forward. You're chugging along. And Sean McDermott's got this team ready to play, ready to go. Let's get this thing moving. So I like the Buffalo Bills to drive forward in this one. I don't think the Jets are going to be too hard of a problem for them. But, we've seen other stranger things happen here, Joe. But
We have just last week.
just last week even, too, against that Buccaneers offense.
So, it's easy pick for me. It's Buffalo Bills, one of the best pass defenses in the league, a team that is right there. Listen, their offense is back to where it was. You know what I mean? Their offense kind of spit and sputtered in the middle of the season, but now it seems like they're getting back on track. They're putting up points. Josh Allen is back to his running ways, his throwing ability is back there again. And his decision-making is getting better. So, and this is the time of season that you need that. You need your best players to play well, and that's what they're doing right now. Bills against the Jets. I feel like the Jets are going to be a thorn in Bills' side right here. I don't think they're going to win. I think the Bills are still going to get the W. However, I feel like this is going to be one of those games where it might be closer than people anticipate.
All right, here we go. Next up, we've got the San Francisco 49ers and the Los Angeles Rams. Rams moving into the playoffs, and Matthew Stafford, again, it all depends on the way he plays, really. Cooper Kupp, he's been really lighting it up this season. He's been his go-to guy. The Rams have been dealing with a few issues there of their own, too, as well. But you've got Aaron Donald there in that defense. Now they have Von Miller coming into it and gelling now with this team. Odell Beckham Jr. there as well. And really, again, I think it comes down to how many interceptions is Matthew Stafford going to throw here? Because we've seen him throw some of those boneheaded picks that turn into points. If he can eliminate some of that and still stay safe, get this game under control and hit it to even other people than Cooper Kupp here. So, get OBJ, get mixed up into this whole mix, really dish the ball around, even it out here to stay balanced and control this game, because also the 49ers aren't going to have Jimmy G in this when they're going to have Trey Lance. Yep. So you've got this young quarterback here. That defense is going to be smelling blood here. It's going to be tough against, for the 49ers. But, Kyle Shanahan, he does know how to make some moves here and try and get this team going. So he has some surprises up his sleeves, I think, for the Los Angeles Rams. But overall, I think the Rams are going to be able to pull this one out here at home.
Yeah, and there's been no official word yet who is starting at quarterback just yet. Trey Lance looks like it's going to be the guy. However, Jimmy G is now healthy and back at practice, so they still have to make a decision on who's going to be their quarterback. Who gives them the best shot, going up against a veteran team like the Rams. Niners, I like what they've been able to do thus far. They are right there, right on the border of making the playoffs, and this is a game that they need to have. The Rams are the same way. They can't afford to lose, because if they happen to get this win, and just say, for example, somehow, some way Detroit beats the Packers, then you could have. There's an interesting, then it comes down to tiebreaker. Who wins that tiebreaker, Rams or Packers? So I don't know what it would come down to, because they didn't play each other, right? I don't think they played each other this season. So everything is going to be interesting this week, to say the least. You got the Niners, who are fighting for their playoff hopes. The Rams are still want to win to possibly move up in terms of seeding. And then even if the Bills win and the Bengals lose, that makes the Bills move up to the third spot automatically, and then the Bengals drop. So a lot in play here. I'm going to go with the Rams on this one. I just like the Rams team right now and how they're playing, how they've come together as a unit, offensively and defensively, and now it seems like they're all getting great chemistry together, and what at a perfect time of the season.
All right, Joe, next up we got the New England Patriots and the Miami Dolphins. Usually this time in the season here, when Miami plays at home against the Patriots,
Yeah, that's right.
they pull out a victory here. Joe, what do you got in this one? Let's talk about it here. You know, the Patriots, they got shocked, I think. Well, not shocked. Well, they ended up playing against the Bills again. They were really on that big
They
roll.
got beat.
And then they got beat.
Because there's
So
no
a lot of
weather,
people
no
were trying
weather
to
permitting.
wonder what's going on with this team, but it seems again like they've collected themselves together, gotten back on track, and again they're one of those teams there led by Bill Belichick. It's funny because a lot of people were thinking after last year too, when they didn't have a real quarterback moving forward for them, are they going to have the sad years now? Now you're seeing these AFC East teams saying, damn it, we had you out for one season. Now you're back into the playoffs already here? Jesus, we thought it would be a little longer. You're killing us here. And now they're in the talks here. They're back into the mix here, back into the playoffs. And they've got a tough team here against, though. You got the Miami Dolphins that are going to be really tough because they play better at home against the Patriots. Seems like they got the Patriots number here when the Patriots come into here and
True.
play. They beat them when they had Tom Brady there.
Right.
So now you don't. You have Mac Jones. They got that Miami defense that has been playing well, too, for them. Can they pressure Jones enough and try and make the Patriots run the ball and try and beat them that way? What do you see in this one?
I see New England winning. I mean, it's to me, it's that simple. I know all the history that Miami has and everything, but this offensive line of the Patriots is way too good. What they've been able to do with a rookie quarterback has been amazing. And you got to give credit where credit's due. Is Mac Jones, as a rookie, has played remarkably well. I know he's tripped over his feet a couple times and made a couple of bonehead moves, but overall, as a rookie coming in here, and now you have a playoff caliber team waiting to win. Here's the thing, is if the Dolphins happen to beat the Patriots, this makes this whole thing way more interesting. Because then that makes the Patriots 10-7. Let's just say Chargers are 10-7 and the Colts are 10-7. Where's the tiebreaker for seeding? Does that drop the Patriots at all? Do the Colts move up? You know what I mean? So that's going to be interesting as well. But yeah, I got the Patriots in this one. I don't think Miami. Listen, Miami disappointed me last week. I didn't think their defense played terrible. I don't know what happened to it. I don't know. I don't know where were the points on offense. So I don't know. Maybe they wake up for this game because it's a divisional opponent. But I think Patriots are going to end up with the win.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a tough one for me. I think it's going to be close just because it seems like Brian Flores really does know how to get at Belichick out of any of the any of the former coaches.
Vrabel
with the
Vrabel's
Patriots.
really good.
Yeah, Vrabel's really good too. But I think I'm going to side with Joe on this one too, and slide with the New England Patriots. I think overall, when you look at the teams and with two of the mistakes that he's made too, I think it's going to be a bit of a deciding factor. Because you forget too, look at that defense that they've got there. You still have, Dietrich Wise Jr. too, and Matt Judon on the other side too. You can't forget about guys like that. And J.C. Jackson, he's been playing lights out this season too. So
for
keep an eye on
for a
those guys.
contract.
Yeah. Yep. So all right, next up we got the Seattle Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals. Joe, Cardinals at home. They bounced back last week against the Dallas Cowboys. See, that's the thing with the Cowboys, too. I was like, I needed to try and get another game back, but I was like, you know what? The defense is really starting to step up. Maybe that offense can get it going. Arizona seems like a lot of people have dialed them in and figured them out, and there you go. They come back and get back into us. Damn you, Dallas Cowboys. Why do I ever pick you? And but now they're facing the Seattle Seahawks, who, again, looks like it's all basically on Russell Wilson, whatever he has to do to get some things done here. I don't think it's enough. That defense isn't very good. I like the Arizona Cardinals here at home.
I would give Seattle a shot if they were home, but they got to go to Arizona and try to get this win. The Cardinals, listen, they finally woke up out of their slump last week, and I feel like they're going to continue their winning ways this week. Seattle coming to town, but listen, it's not the same Seattle Seahawks we're used to seeing. So they have been struggling on offense. They've been struggling on defense. And I feel like it's going to continue with the Cardinals here. Kyler Murray is healthy now. He's dusted the rust off, so to speak. He doesn't have DeAndre Hopkins. However, he's utilizing Christian Kirk. He's utilizing A.J. Green. He's utilizing the pieces that are there for him. And they do have Chase Edmonds back. So that's another, relief for the Cardinals offense.
If they give it to him. A lot of times when they even have him, they wouldn't run. I think the problem with that losing skid, too, they weren't getting balanced enough. You know what I mean? For me, I think they should have tried to attempt running more. I think they really did too many design runs with.
They went too heavy in the run game with James Conner.
Well, I think when they had him, I think it worked, though, for them. I think when they had even Chase Edmonds by themselves, they weren't doing it enough.
When Chase Edmonds, before the injury, was lighting it up. I mean, they were more balanced then. And then when he came down with an injury, they were more pass-heavy, and they didn't use Conner enough until the last couple of weeks before Edmonds returned. That's when they started to really use Conner a lot. Running, receiving game, everything. And now that they have Edmonds back, it's almost like the rhythm isn't there anymore. Because now they get, we've been able to make moves with Conner, and that's been working out great. Now we got Edmonds back, and it's like, well, we kind of forgot how we use these guys together. You know what I mean? So I think that's all going to be ironed out. It's going to be fine. But this is another game that the Cardinals can take advantage of and to help prepare them for the playoffs.
Next, we got the Carolina Panthers, again, struggling team. Have a quarterback issue, the coaching issue. Tampa Bay, they're on a little bit of a skid where a lot of people are now ready to jump off the ship. They're ready for a mutiny right now. They're like, oh, this is why Antonio Brown sealed the fate. For the Bucks, they don't have enough weapons now, yada yada, all this stuff, and chill out. I've never seen so many Bucks fans freak out over just some other, games, like when they're not playing well in a game or it's a tight one. They're like, what? We're losing? How are we losing right now? What is it? What are you guys doing? What is going on? And then when they win, they're like, yeah, Bucks up, yeah. And then it's like, give me a freaking break. You guys are so on an emotional roller coaster. It's ridiculous.
Let's be honest about this. Antonio Brown wasn't that significant of your receiving core. He was your third
when he had him there, but yeah,
he was your third option.
Like, come on,
sometimes your fourth option. So before Chris Godwin's injury, you'd be like, whatever. Antonio Brown. I understand it's more significant now because you don't have Godwin to rely on. And now you're down basically two receivers. But listen, Tom Brady and this offense, they're going to be okay. They're going to get back Leonard Fournette. They're going to utilize Gronk probably a little bit more. They got Evans back now, so they're going to throw it. They're going to be fine. They're not going to be as deep, in the receiving, at the receiving positions. However, they do have Cameron Brate. They can utilize him in double tight end sets. There's a lot of things that they can do to kind of overcome their loss. So Tampa Bay is going to end up winning this game against the Panthers. And the reason why I'm picking Tampa is not because that Darnold has returned or anything. Listen, if I was promised by Matt Rule that Darnold was the absolute starter this week, and by no means he was going to change things up and put Cam in, in the red zone or something like that, then I probably would pick Carolina because I think they got a shot. But the fact with this coaching staff so loosely pulling guys out of the game, putting guys in the game, and kind of disrupting the rhythm that they once had in the beginning of the season. You remember Sam Darnold lit it up the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season before he got injured. He was killing teams. Now we just don't know what Carolina is anymore.
Yeah, so I'm agreeing with you on that one too. Finally, to the last game of the night, Sunday Night Football, the game that really matters here out of all of this, for getting in. You're in. You win. You're in. The Los Angeles Chargers and your Las Vegas Raiders, Joe. It's an AFC West matchup. They're going to go toe-to-toe here. It's tough. Both defenses kind of struggling. And then you got
the Raiders defense has been playing well.
They've been playing better. The other one not so good. But again, look at Staley too. I'm only worried about in this game is how many times is he going to go for it on fourth down? Is it going to be
Did you see
the
last
problems
week?
For them?
You see, last week when after the game they questioned him, I'm like, oh, we noticed that you kicked a field goal instead of going for it on fourth down. What was the decision factor there? And he's like, well, I felt like it was going to be a close game, so I kicked the field goal and took the points.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, wingnut. If you did that against Kansas City, you would have beat Kansas City.
Yep. You wouldn't be in this situation. You learning now, dude, or what? Trusting your analytics.
Put your big boy pants on and play like and coach like a real man, would you?
Yeah, absolutely. And what's funny is because last week when we talked about the game with the Chargers and the Broncos, I was really saying, hey, man, I'm looking to see a big game from Keenan Allen or something like that, or these guys are wide receivers. Where are these guys?
Yeah.
I want to see these guys get something here. And I was able to see some of those guys do something here. At least Keenan Allen get a touchdown. Mike Williams, too, as well. So we got to see those guys score for once because I wasn't seeing it because the whole time it seems like this season they've been really relying heavily on Austin Eckler and what he's doing. So it was nice for them to alleviate some of that pressure off of there.
Right.
And for Justin Herbert to have a nice solid game here with 2 touchdowns and a rating of 114.6. So he's got to play something like that against this Las Vegas Raiders team here in Allegiant Stadium there. It's going to be the black hole is going to be in full effect. It's going to get rowdy, Joe.
It's going to be rocking.
Are you going to roll with your Raiders in this one?
Hell no, because here's the deal. The Chargers beat the Raiders 28-14 the last time they played them, and that was with John Gruden at the helm. I don't have any confidence. Like I said this last week, I don't have any confidence in this coaching staff now. They don't have a true leader. The play calling offensively is absolutely terrible, and the defensive play calling is not far behind that. Mm-hmm. Pretty bad. So I'm going to go with the Chargers and their aggressive, play calling style, and I feel like the Chargers might do enough to get this win.
I'm going to agree with you here, too, also on the Chargers, too. So we have all the same exact picks in this one. In the last week, I'm going to take my chances in the playoffs here moving forward, Joe, and see what happens here. But right now, I count on that I'm going to be drinking this thing at the end of the season, but we'll see. We'll see what happens in the playoffs, Joe. It's going to get crazy. So that's it. That's our picks. That's the end of the show here for us this week. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you guys haven't yet, go to our YouTube page, hit the subscribe button, hit a notification bell, let you know whenever we go live. Follow us on Twitter, FB_no. And also, if you haven't yet on Facebook, that's where a lot of a bigger following is. Go check out our group, Football on the No Show. And that's it. Joe, anything else to say when we head out of here?
Week 18.
Spotify, too. Everybody on Spotify. And you guys, thank you so much. And make sure you hit the ratings, too, when you guys listen to our show. Rate it. Give it a 5-star, too. That helps us out, too, as well.
This week is going to be fun, everybody. Listen, enjoy this week's games. Root on your teams. Listen, for all you Raider fans out there, listen, I love the Raiders. I'm logical about this. We struggled mightily against them last time. I don't have a lot of confidence in Greg Olsen calling plays or whatnot. And there's a lot of playoff scenarios that can come about. Listen, root for your teams. Cross your fingers if you have to. Do whatever you got to do. I'm going to be drinking my face off because I got a feeling it's going to be a bad game for me. But, yeah, go ahead. Root them on, and we'll see you guys next week.
Join us next week from 8 till 10 Wednesday night for more Football on the No with Jim and Joe.